pleasure and honor to introduce James Walker. James, if you can just stand up and wave to everybody, that would be so kind. Thank you. James is a principal on the investment team at Drapers Associates. He was formerly a corporate attorney with Latham and Watkins in Silicon Valley, where he specialized in emerging company matters and venture financing transactions. And what an incredible, bio you have, James. I was just reading through this. James has a bachelor degree in business economics and psychology from the University of California, Santa Barbara, a JD from Duke University of Law, and an MBA from Columbia Business School. So please do join me in welcoming James Walker as one of the judges. Thank you and welcome, James, again. And then also, if I can, request both Kumar and Anand, who are the luminaries of TiE Silicon Valley. You probably see them around more often. Absolutely avid investors, have the pulse of the market, and of course the co-chair of TiE50 for several years. And they have a knack of picking the winners, and that's why you are in this room. So thank you, judges. Please take your seat and let the show begin. So I'll request, Able Innovation to please come here and do the pitch. Good luck.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Prateek Mishra, and I'm here to talk about how Able Innovations is revolutionizing the most labor-intensive task in healthcare through robotics. Patient transfers is the act of lifting and moving individuals from one surface to another. Now, this happens between a bed to a stretcher, or from a stretcher to a CT couch. Currently, in healthcare, hundreds of these transfers occurs every single day in a typical healthcare facility. Each transfer requires 2 to 8 staff to conduct backbreaking effort. It is unsafe and undignified for the patient, and as a result cause numerous injuries and inefficiencies for the healthcare facilities. It is estimated that the economic impact is approximately $20 billion a year. Now, with the aging population, this problem has the need for care providers are increasing, but at the same time, the nurses are getting injured and are leaving the profession, and further worsening the problem. And here is where we come in. Able Innovations has developed their first patient transfer system called the Alta platform. Now, these same transfers can be conducted by a nurse with a click of a button. As you can see in the video, once the device aligns itself with a click of a button, the platform extends itself. Now, it senses the bed, compresses it with the required compression, and further moves to roll under the patient. The sensation that you get once it rolls under is more of a massage for the patient, as you can see that it's not pushing on the leg. So once the patient is on the platform, then you can take the patient away for a CT appointment or for another ward appointment, wherever it needs to go. Currently, these same train transfers in hospitals require multiple staff and almost 8 to 10 minutes to do. When we introduced the product in healthcare facilities, we received tremendous interest from all the North American hospitals. Now, we have already secured 3 high-value contracts, and we are expecting to get 4 to 6 more hospitals onboarded by the end of the year. Currently, we are raising $3 million round to expand our manufacturing operations, to deliver and implement at these facilities, and also to expand our sales initiative. With that, I just want to point out that currently in hospitals, the number one problem that they are facing is short staffing, and we are solving that very same problem, and we are poised to grow. Thank you for your time, and I welcome any questions that you may have.
Excellent. Thank you very much for sharing. How many robots do you currently have in operation?
So currently we have 2 at one of our facilities in Ottawa, in Toronto, and we also have a few more prototypes that we have built in, which we'll be using in the next few months to deliver at the interested facilities and build more data.
I see. Is there any regulatory approval required to use these in hospitals, or what's the process there to actually get it in with patients?
Right, and so before I get into that, we are partnered with we have Innomar Strategies on our retainer, which is one of the biggest regulatory organizations. With them, we have done an extensive assessment, and we have found that it's a Class 1 device in Health Canada, and for FDA, it's a Class 2 device, but it's 510K exempt. So we have our MDEL license, and we are registered on the FDA.
Excellent. Less a question than a comment, but in robotics generally, I really like specific tasked robots rather than trying to recreate an entire human. So I think what you're doing here is very valuable. Love the tailwinds. I don't love the fact that there's a healthcare shortage in the country, but I love the tailwinds aspect of it.
Yeah.
So I think it's an incredibly useful product that you're building.
Thank you.
So the question I have is, typically if a hospital spends so much, what is the ROI? How long does it take for them to recover the cost in terms of the nurse savings?
Right, and that's a very good question. Currently, we are working with hospitals to build a ROI equation. With our first contract that we went forward with, we use the hospital data to figure out how much they are spending on the nurses who they have to backfill in order to do the same activities. And when the nurses get injured, they generally have to add a modified worker for that. And generally hospitals come up and say to us that it costs them $10,000 a bed. Sometimes when these injuries happen, and we build a value equation based on that, and generally we can build an ROI, recover the cost within a year. That's sort of an equation that we are trying to build, and we want to reach a 5x ROI by 5 years.
Let me follow up on what Anand asked. How are you pricing this? What's your pricing model?
So currently especially in Canadian facilities, they are interested in putting it in their capital budget. So initial units we are selling it on a capital model, but we have built relationship for a leasing model as well, which would very much be able to be incorporated in the operating budget of hospitals.
It's still not a number which you're come out with yet. You're still working on that number, I guess.
So right now we have put a number of $100 USD per device, 100 to 120 basically, and it depends on what type of feature sets we are adding to the device. So we have also added a smart move feature already, which we have incorporated in the device, which improves the ROI equation of the device. Then in the future, we are building in data insight features, self-cleaning features on the device, which would further improve the ROI equation. So based on that, we'll be developing more pricing models.
Thank you. Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'd now like to invite base pair.
Hello everyone, my name is Amit. I am the founder and CEO of BasePair. We develop enterprise software for genomics data. My journey started when I was doing a PhD in AI, before it was cool. The application of AI that I found most intriguing and challenging was in the medical domain, because medical data is so messy, but has so much potential impact. So I worked at Harvard Medical School as an instructor in a cancer research lab. And over the next few years, we published over 40 research papers in AI, genomics, and cancer. So over the next few years, we saw an exponential increase in the amount of genomic data. What used to cost hundreds of millions of dollars was now available for just a few $100s. This had potential impact in oncology, fertility, gene therapy, longevity. But the biggest bottleneck was analyzing and making sense of this data. So this represents a huge $10 billion market opportunity and growing very quickly. So we started BasePair to solve this problem. We have developed an enterprise-grade software to analyze genomics data. We have a super easy-to-use interface, so even a physician, biologist, without any programming, can run complex analyses on their own. On the back end, we have the capability to scale to millions of samples while being cost-effective and compliant. Our solution works so well that AWS is now a ISV co-accelerate partner with us, and we co-sell our solution to multiple customers. Most of our recent customer acquisition has come through this channel from Amazon. What we have done is taken a really complex process and made it very, very easy for the end customers. Our customers are some of the leaders in the life sciences industry. Base pair, we are not finding the cure for cancer, but that's what our customers are doing. Nkarta Therapeutics is developing CAR-T therapy for cancer and using base pair. Vitrolife can double the chances of pregnancy with a PGTA test powered by base pair. So our customers are truly making the world a better place, and we are so proud to support them. Turns out genomics is great business too. Over the last few years, we have been growing 2x year over year while being capital efficient. On the enterprise side, we have 100% logo retention and 120 of NRR. We provide a real value to the customer with a very clear ROI. So a lot of our customers, they continue to stay with us, they increase their account with us, and we are just getting started. One of the privileges of founding a startup is you can really hire some of the most motivated and skilled people. I cannot be more proud of the team. We have Simon, who leads our commercial strategy. He used to work at Illumina, which makes these sequencing machines, so he knows the industry very well. And then we have Blas, who runs our software team, and then we have Luke, who runs our science team. So together, we have a really great product solving a real problem for many, many customers, and we are just getting started. I'd love to speak with you afterwards. Thank you.
Excellent. How much have you raised to date, and how much are you looking to raise now?
We have raised 3.4, and we're looking to raise 4 million more.
What's the primary, what do you want to do with that 4 million? Is it in terms of scaling up the existing product or marketing?
Scaling up the sales, yeah.
And in terms of the current customers you have, what's the biggest item on their wish list in terms of what the platform doesn't yet deliver, but you hope it will be able to?
It just more ability to customize. Every customer have their unique analysis. If there are two oncology companies, they don't want to run the same analysis. They want to run different analysis. They want to show the results in a different report format. So having these features in the platform where they can customize the analysis and the reporting, I would say is one of the most requested feature.
Excellent, that makes sense. And then you mentioned a couple different verticals that you're serving. How many total customers do you have?
On the enterprise side, we have 5 paying 100,000 plus, and then we have a few smaller customers paying $25,000 annual license. And then we also have dozens of smaller research labs who pay us a few $1,000s each, so the Harvards and the Stanfords of the world. But the biggest revenue driver is from the enterprise segment.
Excellent.
So what are you replacing? How did your customers, what were they using before and what are you replacing?
Yeah, that's a great question. Currently, it's mostly in-house team. People hire developers, bioinformatics scientists, DevOps people, and we are replacing this with a fully automated solution, a SaaS solution.
So you're providing a cost benefit
Yes.
in terms of the staff that they have to now
Exactly.
no longer have to hire.
So cost benefit is there, and the other bigger benefit is the turnaround time. With our automated approach, you get the results in 20 minutes. With a manual team, it can be weeks or sometimes months.
And have your customers delivered products based on your research when they actually reach the market?
Yeah, it's already in the market. Just in the IVF case, we have more than 30,000 families benefiting from the reports that BasePair is creating. So yeah, it's already in the market. Things are being developed.
Okay, great.
How do you know that your data is comprehensive? I mean, this is data which keeps moving.
Yes.
So versus the manual teams which you talked about, you're replacing.
Yes.
They'll be able to do that, but in your case, it's a database and your AI engine is working on it.
Yeah.
So why don't you talk a little bit
so
about
generally when we onboard a new customer, we go through a validation process for them. So we take the analysis sometimes that their internal team has done. So they solve the 0 to 1 problem with the internal team. And now we help them go from 1 to millions of tests in a scalable manner. So we take their existing analysis, reporting, add it to our platform. We go through a validation process, takes a few iterations. And once we are right, then we are confident that everything is working well.
What's your go-to-market? How are you finding customers?
So first we started with the standard stuff, going to conferences, which worked very well for us, digital, Google Ads, and it's a standard SaaS GTM. So finding these leads, moving through them the funnel. Since last year, we started this partnership model. So Amazon is one of our biggest partner. We already have closed like $150,000 coming from them. In BioIT conference last month, they invited us to share the stage with them. So after that conference, we have a lot more leads coming in because we get the credibility with AWS. So in addition to AWS, we have other partners, like some companies who make the devices. So we partner with them. So the partner is a new channel we are adding in the last year. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Very well done.
We'd like to invite now Brisk.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. My name is Ankur. I am co-founder and CEO of Brisk. Brisk is an autonomous checkout platform for small format retail. The key problem that we are solving here is the labor shortage problem that is everybody in the world is facing at this point of time. And what we have built here is an automated checkout platform where a shopper like all of us can walk into the store, authenticate ourselves, pick up the products, and simply walk out. What we do in the backend is using sensor fusion, computer vision, and deep learning algorithms, we track the shopper throughout the store, identify the items picked up, and generate the bill. And the key problem that I was highlighting is because of why targeting the small format store is the key part here. Because the small format stores are facing biggest challenge of the labor cost going up, which is wiping out their profitability. And because of that, if you look into the data, that a lot of small format stores are selling their stores because they are not able to run it. And in that also, at this point of time, our key ICP are the businesses which are running store chains closer to spaces like offices, residential complexes, hotel motels, hospitals, and the places where the footfall is limited, but the store operations require 24/7. Since starting in February 2023 in India, we have gone live across 63 locations spread across India, US, and Canada. And we have a limited ARR of $42,000. But what we are able to achieve with our existing customers, we are able to get contracts and LOIs of $3.5 million in ARR. And in the next 6 months, we are targeting to go live across 120 locations. That is on the business side. But along with this, we have developed very strong partnership with Intel, NVIDIA for product development, and with Accenture and Tata Communications for business growth. As a team, we have more than 50 years of experience spread across technology, AI, and scaling businesses. All the core team members know each other for the last 15 years. And we came from the same alma mater. And currently, we are raising a seed round to scale our business in the market. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. We have a portfolio company that's been working on something similar called Standard AI. And
yes.
I'm curious here, since you're targeting smaller stores, what's their ROI? Like, I imagine the setup cost is higher. It's fairly high relative to once it's in operation. So when you're having those conversations, what's the timeline you provide?
Yeah, so that's the very important part. That's why I said small format store. With the CapEx, the IoT components and the design that we have done, our customers are able to get the ROI in less than 18 months. Certain customers are able to achieve the ROI in less than 6 months also. And Standard was a leader in that space, I know that.
Excellent. And then, so say 18 months for some. And then, is there an error rate that you think about in terms of not picking up items that have been taken?
Yes, and that's why the small format once again comes very beautiful, because as the size of the store increases, the complexity of the product pickup and things come into picture. We are able to get 98.2 sort of accuracy, rest 1.8. We have a human in loop process. In real time, we have a backend team which looks into those smaller items, and that start feeding back into the algorithm and keep improving from there. We started at 90, we are able to get it to 98 close to 98 at this point of time. We believe over a period of time it will come down to less than 0.2, 0.3%.
Excellent. Is the human in the loop simultaneous to the shoppers being in the store?
Not simultaneous. That particular case, a sort of a customer support ticket is being created, but we make sure that the shopper gets the bill in that particular specific case, should be able to get that bill in 10 to 15 minutes rather than waiting for a day or two.
Excellent. Thank you.
Sounds like a real problem here. How are you able to convince these small shopkeepers that they can afford it? I mean, affordability part. And what has been the reaction so far?
Yeah, so that's been the chicken and egg problem for us. We have only worked with the retailers who are willing to put the upfront capex at this point of time. We are in process of identifying the way with financial institutions that if we can make that capex also into a sort of a lease model, which can be paid over a period of 2 to 3 years. So that will enable the faster adoption for our solution. I think that is one of the blocker on which I am working. If we are able to cross that, I think you might see this solution being deployed tens of thousands of locations very soon.
So maybe you can go after some small chains who own multiple stores so they can probably offer a solution for all their little stores.
Yeah, that's what we are targeting at this point. Like one of the use case we are focusing on is, it's a very big pain. What we identified is talking to these hotels and motel chains. What they identified, they are losing a lot of contracts because they and customer satisfaction level because they are not able to serve later in the night and all the things around it. What if there's a small grab-and-go store available 24/7, supporting you with on-the-go meals, cold drink, juices, something that you need on medicine, what we see in the airports, but can be brought closer to the shopper.
You had 44K of ARR.
Yes.
Right? What is the total retail value of goods that are being sold across all these customers?
Yeah, it is close to 2 million.
Okay. And you charge on a license basis, not on a percentage of...
Yes. So in India, we are not charging at the initial customers, we are charging at a flat fee. What we identified, charging flat fee bring more success to the customer. And we want to drive their success. But even in this particular pricing point, our goal is that we are able to have a gross margin of close to 70% at this point of time.
And the CapEx, do they pay you or the customer installs it on their own for the CapEx?
CapEx, the smaller retailers prefer us, we get all the things done for them. But there are some big chains also who are trying to set up these smaller stores. We tell them that these are the requirements of the product that you can get it, and we can give them the instruction. They already have their setup team which can do all the parts.
That's not included in the 44K, right there.
No, this is only software. I'm not even charging. If I put my hardware into this, it might come to 400, 500K around it. You'll say, okay, this is a very great number, but that is not my. Okay. We do it at the cost-to-cost basis on the hardware side.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Yep.
Next company is Casper.
Hi, glad to be presenting here. I am Dr. Ashutosh Saxena, and here's this thing. Let's see if this works. So we are bringing healthcare to every home for early disease detection. And the way we are doing it is something that does not depend on patient adherence. It's a completely passive device that is based on radar and Wi-Fi, no cameras and no wearables. And we do early disease detection through our technology, which solves a lot of problems for our customers. And healthcare is a big problem, massive tailwinds, and we are riding upon the tailwind after pandemic, where people and enterprise customers want to monitor patients and avoid problems before they happen. We have a total market SAM of about $50 billion licensing software high margin ARR potential. And the fundamental idea is that we are converting labor-centric care to AI-centric care. With our AI and sensing, we can do proactive care, 24/7 monitoring is possible, preventative care is possible, and it is reimbursable due to FDA and CMS guidelines. Let me spend a couple of minutes on what we do. We basically work with our enterprise clients in their patient portfolio. We install our devices in the home, one device per room, easy to install. And these devices tell us about how people move in the environment. With this data, we extract heart rate, respiration rate, and numerous other basic pieces of information related to motion. Our AI takes this and extracts 20 plus health and wellness markers, which are extremely crucial to provide good care. This HIPAA-compliant AI has been patented, and we are deploying it throughout the US. The information is then pushed into the workflows of the nurses, clinicians, care providers in a very seamless manner through APIs and through dashboards. We are live into the market from Hawaii to Florida, from Minnesota to Texas. One interesting thing about our product is that it is accretive for our customers. What that means is our customers make $140 per patient per month additional top-line high-margin revenue with our product. Due to this, our customers, who are generally enterprises having thousands to tens of thousands of patients each, are accelerating deployment, and we now have a backlog with our current clients of $14 million of annual recurring revenue, licensing software revenue. The team has a proven record. I was a professor at Cornell, did my PhD from Stanford, took a company called Catapult public, and other people in the team are David Cheriton, first investor of Google, and Ryan, who has healthcare experience background, and our healthcare advisory board has numerous people from the big healthcare companies to help us do the sales. To summarize, Casper is driving the proliferation of remote healthcare and wellness. We enable companies who want to provide good healthcare with their care teams. It is a field-tested AI technology patented on a 150 billion proprietary data set, working with Stanford and NIA to detect numerous diseases in the long run. In the short term, we are making revenue. With accelerating client adoption, we are on our path to about 40 million ARR with our leads, and just with our existing clients, we have a expansion backlog of about $14 million. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So if 14 million's, I guess, two pricing questions. 140 per month per patient is the value add.
To the customer.
What are you charging the customer?
We are charging a blended pricing of about $32 per patient per month. It ranges from 20 to 45 through pricing tiers.
Excellent. And then the pipeline ARR is 14 million. What's the current ARR?
Current ARR as collected on the licensing is $500,000, and contracted is about reaching 2 million, and we are growing as we are going towards 14 million.
Excellent. And what's the biggest bottleneck in terms of expanding from that 500K ARR to the 14 million? Is it to capacity, devices? Is there back-end servicing you need to do?
We just got a term sheet, and we are now increasing our partnership team. We were operating with a very lean team, so we are hiring a team of about 5 to 6 people to onboard all these clients and to do sell-through to different level and onboard the clients properly.
Are the clients operators of multiple senior homes, or what's the channel? What's the partnership?
They are either home healthcare agencies selling to people living in their own homes, could be pregnant, children, sick people, post-operative care, and also facilities of different levels.
Excellent. And then last question about the product. You mentioned heartbeat. It's an entirely remote sensor that can monitor a patient's heartbeat?
Yeah, so it can continuously monitor heart rate data remotely as long as people are not moving. That's the constraint.
I see. What kind of sensors does it use to do that?
It's generally radar and Wi-Fi based sensing. The heart rate comes from the radar sensing with our AI technology.
Cool. Thank you.
So how accurate are your sensors, and how accurate prediction? Because you need to get a lot more deployed in order to know how accurate it is. So how comfortable do you feel in terms of predicting any potential issues with the patient?
In our studies, we have cycled through 10,000 patients in our last, since the data collection. We are currently permanently live in several thousand patients. In those studies, I would say the raw data is accurate roughly at the level of wearables. The condition detection from urinary tract infection to other detections are at the level that FDA calls as stage 1. It is good for a clinician to look at to make a diagnosis. And accuracies range from 60% from behavioral diseases to 99.9% on some of the events.
And when you said the revenue is accretive to the customer, explain that.
So insurance payers, employment-based plans, private pay, they pay on pre-existing or upcoming insurance codes for these services. And the general way to think about it is that one nurse for 1 hour costs about $50 to $150 just for 1 hour. So insurance companies are fully aware that if they do preventative care, that's a $10 solution, not a $20,000 solution in an ER. So that's why they have these codes to do automated monitoring now.
So the hospital or the nursing care facility basically passes on the cost of your software to the insurance company, and they pay it based on the insurance code.
We charge a fixed licensing fee based on the tier, and they charge a fixed fee based on the codes to the insurance providers. And these are not necessarily facilities, they're also virtual care providers, home health agencies that charge.
I think many companies have taken, approach to do this kind of problem, with IoT sensors and all that. We've taken a slightly different approach, looking at patterns, like, did they not, why are they walking at this time of the night? It kind of like, triggers the alarms and stuff like that, if I gather. In a hospice's care, that's probably easily doable in the setup, but how at home care, what are the challenges to set this up?
I think over the last 10 years, a lot of companies have looked at motion data, using motion sensors. The ability to detect heart rate, respiration rate, and 20 plus health and wellness markers to be able to detect urinary tract infection is completely new. The sensor installations are fairly straightforward. You have to install it in the corner. We have teams throughout the US. But our value is really on the enterprise SaaS ongoing nurses tool, right? Like they have a dashboard, they can know what's going on with the patients.
Can you also add on other sensors as you go to the software?
Yeah, our core value proposition is not on the hardware, it's on the firmware level to all the way to integrations with EHR systems and the condition detection. So we have a portfolio of 10 plus OEM suppliers, and we are production and we focus on just using 3 to 4 sensors for operational purposes.
How did you come up with the $32 pricing?
Market tested, so I think $20 is the minimum for us to make it worthwhile, and until we get more conditions added, which we are working on, for example, with pharma companies to run trials on behavioral detection medications, the market has a capacity to pay insurance codes basically, so $40, $50. So it's driven by insurance codes.
What about regulatory approvals? Do we need any other stuff? Is HIPAA compliance?
Yeah, so across our 20 plus health and wellness markers, some of them are FDA class 2 510K exempt. For others, we are contactless device, so we are a class 1 medical device. For some of the others, we are very careful, like urinary tract infection is not a diagnosis, it's a data escalation, we call it possible UTI. But we are starting studies in partnership with systems and doctors to be able to get more value out of it.
Have you filed any patents?
We have 7 patents granted and other, I think, 10s in process and some provisionals as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next company is CleverPet.
Hello, I'm Leo. Actually, we're doing business as Fluent Pet. So, I'm Leo, founder and CEO of Fluent Pet. We are kind of like Duolingo for dogs and cats. If you have seen those videos of dogs or cats talking on Instagram or TikTok, you're looking at our company. So you're looking at our products. We are the leader in the space. We launched the brand in 2020 during COVID. We experienced enormous growth, and excited to share more. And a bit about me. My background's in cognitive science, so I did an undergraduate degree at the University of Toronto, and then I joined the PhD program in cognitive science at UC San Diego, and it was there that I started my company. So let's see if this video works. So, oh good, we got it.
Where is your ouch? Where ouch? In your ear? Where is your stranger? In your paw? Let me see your paw. This is the string in your paw. It's going to act between your outer toes and then stuck in it. And I'm going to have to figure out how to remove that between your toes.
So this isn't faked or anything. None of this is artificial. The way people train their dogs to use these sound buttons is not with treats. So they're not just getting a little bit of kibble or something when they press the button. They teach their dogs to use these sound buttons by giving them the things that the buttons refer to. So you'll start with like a play button or a outside button. That's what Bunny, this dog, started with. And when they press that button, you give them the thing that they're looking for. So just a little bit more on us, and then I'll kind of expand things. So we're the category creating brand here. We're far and away the leader. We've got at least a dozen pending patents and a few patents that are actually directly associated with this brand. We've used these patents to actually remove products from Amazon. We are profitable. We bootstrapped from 160 million in revenue to 7 million in revenue in 2023. We've eliminated over 70 Amazon copycats, and we've actually already licensed one of our patents. We have intrinsic recurring revenue because these kind of boards, as your dog or your cat increases their vocabulary, they need to buy more of our buttons, and so a lot of this is actually about community. It's about bringing people together who are excited about doing this, and then they find that they're able to teach their dogs and their cats to have much larger and larger vocabularies. The way that we've been able to be very successful is we're deeply embedded in the creator economy. So we have over 300 influencers who are compensated exclusively by referring a sale, and all of them have dogs or cats who are able to communicate with these sound buttons. Across all of our influencers, we get over 100 million video views per month across multiple platforms. And that's how we've been able to market. We have an app and smart hardware that's already recorded over 10 million interspecies communication events, making the largest data set for interspecies communication that's ever been created. And we're in the process of adding to it in a very meaningful way, and in collaboration with major nonprofits that are associated with Google and other companies. So all of that will enable us to rapidly improve the product, and eventually, of course, we want to get to the point where this is a must-have device and system that automatically will teach any animal in any home to communicate at the level of a young child. Our customer install base is at over 200,000, and some people spend as much as $1,500 on their systems because their dogs have over 100 or sometimes even 150 of these words that they're able to communicate. And the pet market's over 320 billion globally. We think that the future is going to be one in which the animals that we share this planet with are animals that we can communicate with. So that's us.
Thank you very much. I actually went to an interspecies communication talk that you did previously, so I've seen this. This is great. I wanted to get one for my dog, but my wife pointed out she just hit the fetch button repeatedly, which I imagine some customers have that issue.
It's good to add an all done button, right at the beginning, yeah.
I guess my question is, so you mentioned that the upsell for customers is more buttons. What percentage of customers do actually buy more buttons?
We're at like, so we sell kits ranging in size from 2 buttons all the way up to 32 buttons. So a lot of people will buy a kit that's like 12 or even 32 buttons. So if they buy that many buttons at first, then they don't necessarily need to buy another kit. That said, we have about 20% of customers make another purchase.
I see. And then the 10 million plus interspecies communication interactions that are being used to train different models. Is there any licensing that you want to do out of that, or is it right now part of all these nonprofit efforts to kind of increase global Project Doolittle?
The interspecies talk, was that like a few days ago?
Studio 45.
Studio 45. Oh yeah, I presented there. Yeah, with Profil. Yeah, okay. So we are. I think the big opportunity here is using the data and everything that we're discovering in order to make the product extremely effective. And that'll be, if we have a software-driven automated interaction system that teaches dogs and cats, that'll be something that's highly protectable because it's effectively is turning your home into the education system. And that's where the data will primarily come in. Secondarily, the data will come in a major way by our ability to honestly get credibility with the larger scientific community. It's hard to overstate how big of a revolution this would be in our understanding of our place in the world, of our understanding of what language is, of our understanding of the capabilities of other species. I mean, if we've got a dog or a cat, or especially if we've got a pig who is talking in a coherent way, you could imagine the impacts of that on agriculture and other areas. So we think that there's an enormous amount of potential to bring highly protectable technology that enhances the product, increases TAM, and makes this the kind of thing that is a must-have for any company, any home, I should say.
This, I thought it was always fiction, but you made it reality. Looks like interspecies. So I'm a dog owner myself. Most of the time, dogs do listen, trainable. What's the experience with cats, and what's their learning curve?
Surprisingly, we have cats that are doing quite well with the system. Probably the most impressive cat was a cat named Jasper. Unfortunately, Jasper passed away a few months ago. But Jasper was a blind cat who was, I think, over the age of 10. And Jasper was trained to use the buttons by someone who is admittedly fairly skilled. She's an animal behaviorist, but also one of our customers and one of our influencers. And you could see this blind cat would go up to buttons, and the way that the cat could distinguish the buttons was because they had different textures on the buttons, and the cat would touch a button to distinguish which button it was, and then not press it, and then go touch another button. So it was very clear that the cat was actually identifying which button the cat wanted to press. And the other reason why cats might be particularly good as a kind of customer base, user base, I should say, is that cats have a lot of trouble expressing themselves often. Unlike dogs, they are less easy to read, so the buttons become that much more useful.
Just another question is, you have a full patent. You said that you've been able to eliminate a lot of the copycats, but do you have a full patent out there?
We have multiple full patents. Yeah, we have design patents. We have a patent on the shape. We've trademarked the word hex tile. We've trademarked the shape of our actual product as well. So we've taken the kitchen sink approach to IP, and we've used our full patent through Amazon's Apex system. We've used it to actually get nearly 80 listings removed from Amazon, and we have a full licensing agreement that is paying us money already from one of the full patents.
Thanks, Anand.
So, are each button different in texture or color, or is it the placement of them in the mat that the pet decides what to do?
Love that question. Currently, we believe that most animals are just using the location in the mat as as the keyboard. Kind of you don't have to look at the keys anymore when you're typing because you remember where they are. A big part of the design innovation that we brought to this category was by organizing the buttons in little smaller groupings that would be easier to remember. Previously, the buttons were arranged in just a square grid, which is very difficult in terms of the kind of mnemonic memory cues that that grid can provide. It's just, you have to kind of count and everything. Whereas with these kind of tiles, they can expand in any direction, and you can kind of remember which tile and then where inside the tile, which is in terms of a tree search, a much more efficient way of getting there and easier to remember.
So it's grouped by function, like play?
Exactly right, yes, yep.
How long did it take for you to find the dog?
Yep. Yeah.
Did it take a long time to find that out, or was that in the original design? Grouping by functions.
Yeah, that was the original way that we made clear the benefits of the hex tile system was by grouping by function. So subject words like who, where, adverbs, greeting words, etc.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next company is InstaRails.
Hello everyone, this is Yamini Sagar. I'm the founder and CEO of InstaRails, which is the world's first intelligent, decentralized cross-border payout network to make payments instant, inexpensive, and inclusive, especially to the 1.4 billion who are currently unbanked, majority being women and impoverished. So why did we start on this journey? Let's focus on a small business owner, Afia, who currently exports these beautifully made hand-woven bags from local artisans in Nigeria to global e-commerce marketplaces. However, when the e-commerce marketplace in the US sends her a payment of $10,000, $668 are lost in fees, which could be equivalent to 500,000 naira, which is 1/3 of someone's entire year's salary. And this is not just the story of Afia. It is currently impacting a lot of small businesses, migrant workers, employers. Just to give you an idea, about $233 billion are lost in 1 year in hidden cross-border fees, and about $18 billion in US and Canada itself. So why do we have this problem today? It is because of the legacy payment players and the monopoly of the legacy payment players. So what happens is they use a lot of correspondent banks in the transaction. Each player adds to the fees, margin, and slowness and untraceability of the transactions. And that is why this payment system is so inefficient. And we have created InstaRails. So InstaRails basically is a win-win situation for everyone involved. And let me show you how we work. So on InstaRails, we have created a decentralized blockchain network without using cryptocurrencies. So we partner up with banks, businesses, remittance companies, e-wallets, payment service providers who want to send payments using our network. We have also licensed payment providers around the world. And when our clients send transactions, which could be a B2B, B2C, or C2C transaction on our network, it gets routed directly to the destination country, eliminating or bypassing all those intermediaries. What we also do is we use smart routing to route the transaction to the provider in that country with the best exchange rate and the lowest fees. So you see, it's a win-win situation for everyone involved. The sender is paying a very low fee to send the transaction. The recipient, on the other hand, gets the most amount of money instead of losing it in fees. And what's even better, they get to pick their choice of payout method and not just stick to a bank account. We can now pay them via e-wallets or even cash payouts. We also provide our clients with the trust and security of a private, permissioned blockchain network where they are all validating transactions as a node and get a copy of the distributed ledger with the immutable record of the transaction, which helps to eliminate payment disputes and frauds. So this is how our system is a win-win situation for everyone. We just went live in April with our beta. We can deliver payments to 100+ countries. We are currently testing with our clients in the US. And then once we have tested our beta, we plan to do a full production launch in Q3 of this year. We have about 13 companies already in the wait list. And if you are a business looking for cross-border payments to employees, vendors, suppliers, please talk to me after this. Our team consists of 100+ experienced employees, and we are all experts in this space, in this industry, to make InstaRails the next payment unicorn. We are very proud of everything that we have accomplished so far, including winning the TiE Award today and being shortlisted for the Meet the Draper show. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Since you're operating with tight margins, you said you charge about a 1% fee?
Yes, and that 1% also includes the fee charged by the delivery clients to deliver the funds. So our margin is 0.5% per transaction.
Got it. And then are you currently focused more on customers or businesses? How do you see it?
Businesses, yes.
Banks. The API plugin?
Yes.
Excellent.
So if I'm buying something from a person in Nigeria, how do I know about what system? Does she publish and say, okay, here's the way you pay me, or do I just use my credit card and then it automatically goes through some mechanism? So how do you get to the person actually making the payment, initiating the transaction?
Absolutely, that's a very good question. So today in phase 1, we work just like a payroll company, for example, where you had to pre-fund them in advance before sending out the salaries to all your employees. So that's how a business would deposit money with us in an FPO account, and then we would take care of all their transactions as soon as we are pre-funded.
So it'll be like a PayPal where I put money and then it'll get paid to the eventual supplier, with the person I'm buying something from.
Yeah, basically the businesses deposit money in our business FBO account with InstaRails, and we immediately deposit that in their blockchain wallet. As long as they have their wallet funded, they can execute transactions and pay out.
So the business is taking the initiative to use your product.
That's right. Yeah, we don't work with individuals. We want to be the back end, the infrastructure, like a white label solution, and we want to solve the problem from its root, which is working with the bank, working with the remittance company, working with the payroll company, and help to bring the cost down for everyone, individuals and businesses.
So they are your customers. The
I
bank,
started this
company.
digital.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You said
We
you're
live
not
in a
using
world
any
where
crypto,
people,
but is
their
the
devices,
transaction
and
using
their
USDC
ideas
or
are
USDT?
No, so it's direct fiat to fiat conversion.
Okay.
We get our exchange rate from our licensed payment providers, and we route the transaction to the one giving the best exchange rate and the lowest cost.
Businesses.
But then
Customers feel they are
still
paying
have
more for what they
transaction
use, coupled with poor customer service.
When the end recipient has to get the money, there's still transaction fees there, right?
So what we do is we calculate all of that upfront, and we are very transparent. We show the business or the bank that this is the cost from the delivery client, this is InstaRails fee, and this is what the recipient is going to receive in the end. And we give them all the options as well, so they can pick the best route or just leave it to us, and we will route it to the best provider out there.
So for this end user who's selling these bags, what's that percentage? What is that percentage of fees?
So the recipient in the end doesn't pay any fee. They get the full amount in their e-wallet, cash, or bank account. The sender is paying the fee.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next customer, next presenter is Betty.
Hi everyone, my name is Raja Sundaram. I'm the CEO of Relive. We are an insurtech and a health tech solution. So let's look at what we are looking to solve. The market that we are addressing is musculoskeletal. 1 out of 2 of us have some joint problems in the United States. Huge market, growing at 23% CAGR. The problem we are addressing is health systems give patients 6 sheets of paper and say, go manage yourself, come find me 6 weeks from now, or PT gives them stick diagrams. How do you get the human being to do this day in and day out when a less amount of them do it? What we do is pretty simple. We make it easy for patients to manage their care at home, and we leverage data to help quicker claims growth. So let's look at the 2 markets that we are in. The first market that we are in is workers' compensation in the United States. So we sell to large self-insured employers, and we sell to insurance carriers. What they are really looking for is get Johnny back to work quicker, faster, right? And so our focus really is getting Johnny back to work quicker, faster, and through it we are reducing medical cost and indemnity cost. Think about it as lost time, wages, and administrative cost. But the cool thing about it is CFOs love us. The reason CFOs love us is because every single claim is ring-fenced in the balance sheet. So if we get Johnny back to work quicker, faster, even by a day, those funds get released from the balance sheet. And that's really why we're selling it to enterprises. The second market that we are in is healthcare markets, where very large health systems and physician groups, think orthopedics, spine, pain, neuro, multi-specialty groups are clients of ours across the country. And here, everyone's looking for quality outcome scores that they have to report, which we deliver because patients recover quicker, faster. And through it, what we are also doing is creating a new revenue stream for customers because it's reimbursed by Medicare, all the private payers in all 50 states. And if they're doing value-based care, we double the margins. So health systems love us for that reason. So how does it work, right? So we are a biopsychosocial program. It's an app on a patient's phone. Our programs are in English and in Spanish, iPhone, Android, with a sensor. The reason we kept it to that is clinical outcomes require 98+% high fidelity data that is accurate and believable. That's what we deliver day in and day out. And then along with it is a coach. But our big differentiator is the data, because the biopsychosocial program really is creating data around recovery, think range of motion and quality scores. And it also starts looking at the psychosocial aspect of it, which is what is their behavior, what is their mood, what is their archetypes around previous trauma, what is the social condition that they are living in, what is their motivation to return to work and return to life. We do three things with those data. The first thing that we do with the data is we personalize care. So we know how to motivate Johnny, how to kick, cajole, motivate, and support him day in and day out. The second thing we do is dynamic risk stratification, which is identify issues quicker, faster. Right now, we are alerting our health systems about 8,500 alerts a quarter at 0% false positives, which means if we're telling you Johnny's going to be readmitted today, tomorrow, or day after, you better believe us. And the third area that we're using the data, which is important for insurance, is we are predicting the duration and the cost of the claim, which is an area that they've been missing because they generalize based on historical data, but we're giving them a more personalized view around it. So we are a team of geek and Greeks. My co-founder is the head of neurosurgery at Ohio Health. And so we have DPTs on staff along with Silicon Valley geeks, so a geek and a Greek squad. Thank you. I'll take questions.
Awesome, thank you very much. Is the sensor used in conjunction with the patient's camera on their phone, or how are you capturing the range of motion?
Yes, yeah. What we did was we decided not to do computer vision AI, and the reason for it is none of the ortho spine, Johns Hopkins wouldn't believe in it because of the previous question Anand was asking on the fidelity of the data and can I make a decision based on it. So what we did was we created algorithms that tie to each body movement. So think flexion, extension, adduction, abduction, rotation on the shoulder at 98% accuracy. And that's really how we're doing. What that means is our health systems, instead of seeing 3 post-op visits for a knee replacement, are just seeing 1. So we've stuck to a sensor for the time being. We augment computer vision to do gait and balance analysis.
Is it all MSK injuries, or what can you use for right now?
Yeah, right now we do multi-speciality, but so we are doing MSK, every joint in the body. So we do foot, ankle, knee, hip, lower back, spine, neck, shoulder, elbow, wrist, finger. We're sticking to it. We're getting a lot of, there's enough multi-market, so we are just walking into Medicare Advantage plan, Medicaid plans with states. We're walking into personal injury, if you will. So we're sticking to that space and not trying to dump more stuff into it. Seems to be a big enough market.
Great.
So, 2 questions. How do you enforce the how do you know compliance about someone using your sensor? I mean, Johnny can be shirking, not trying to go back to work. And so how do you know, what is the requirement that they actually use your sensor and report back the results?
Yeah, so that's a fantastic question, because if you build it, they won't come, right? And so giving them technology doesn't work. So the way we are driving that is the psychosocial program. We get into their minds. By getting into their minds, think about it as concierge medicine for the masses tailored to Johnny versus Susie to Maria. So our patient engagement today runs at about 75%, which is about 2.5, 3x what the industry average is. And with native Spanish speakers in the United States, it's running at 77%. So yes, Johnny and Maria and Susie, think about it this way. We're not helping an executive at Meta. Our patients are H2 immigrant farm workers to oil and natural gas, mining, retail, airline employees, and so on, right? And so I don't want to use the word blue collar and sound elitist, but that's really who we are supporting. But in order to do that, you have to get into their minds. We've done suicide preventions through this, right? And we're not in that business just because we got into their minds.
And what are your revenues?
Yeah, we are currently, this year, we are going to close with contracts just shy of $5 million.
Thank you.
Well, he hit upon all the questions and answered them. So what's your go-to-market? You know how penetration in this market is not that easy, but how are you finding these guys? And what's your pipeline look like?
Yeah, so the two markets. So the workers' comp market is predominantly a direct sale, but it's a relationship game. So what we have ended up being is we are the only ones who play in it. Others are attempted to go there for a long time and failed. We are the only ones making it. As a result, we have a very large self-insured, the 5th largest employer in the United States, to a very large carrier and 130 cities in California who are our reference accounts. So, right, they talk to each other, and we are in the podium in every major workers' comp conference. We are the new kids of the block. In healthcare, on the other hand, I have 0 salespeople. What I've done is I've taken all the Stryker, Zimmer, Medtronics folks and Uberized them. And the other cool thing is now we have Smith & Nephew as a partner with us, so they're taking us to their surgeons as well. So it's purely a commission-based model is what we're doing.
Great. Awesome. Thank you.
Cheers, Mike.
Next company is PropTex.
So I'm going to talk about real estate listings. I want you to think about the last time you went for a house hunting, and you went through these listing sites, Zillow and the others, and you spent hours and days and weeks and tons of listings before you found that dream home. Imagine for a second if all of these listings suddenly would empower you with a tool that allowed you to imagine this home or imagine the listing as if you would live there. Change the interior, change the kitchen, change the flooring or the decoration. Cool, right? Now this is something that we have been developing with PropTex over the last 4 years. We've built proprietary AI models that we have plugged into listing sites, allowing these listing sites to enable these tools for their users to play with it. What users are doing is adding furniture, changing furnishing, adjusting material, decluttering and removing other objects, and the results are stunning, better than real. What we are seeing with our customers, the usual 1 minute, 1 minute 30 that people spend on a listing site, with the tool of PropTex, they are seeing up to 20 minutes engagement on each listing. Imagine what you can do in 20 minutes and what kind of data you can extract from that. Lead gen, data, buyer behavior, trends. These are all things that were not available before. Nothing on the market today allows for this. Today, we are empowering over 1 million listings across the globe, so not only in North America, but also in Europe and Asia. We're working with the best in the market, so Exit Realty, Keller Williams, Remax, and others. Today, we actually crossed 60,000 images a day, and it keeps increasing. We started the journey in 2020. Last year, we went through Techstars LA. Last year, we went also into the NAR program of REACH, National Association of Realtors. We launched the product in November. First contracts came in January, 4 months ago. We crossed the $1 million ARR last week. And since this was given, these slides were given, we actually doubled that ARR this week. So we're up to $2.4 million in ARR. The business model, very simple, SaaS-based tiered pricing, B2B, purely B2B, giving leads and data. And think about all the other stuff that comes with this. Today we're empowering listings, injecting objects in photos that people are actively looking at. Imagine retail, imagine the other things that could come with this. Team, experts in the field, myself, with several companies in the past. We've got CTO, poached out of Google. Industry experts from one of the first, Zillow, Zumper, and Millsage. Raising funds, $3 million, 1.4 million are in. And the end of the year target is 5.5 million. I think we're going to crush that, so probably have to update this list. Any questions?
Thank you very much. On the last slide, what's the valuation you're raising at?
We have a 20 million cap on a safe project.
Excellent. And then I saw you're charging based on API calls, which was something I was going to ask. Is there and then in terms of the end user, do you have a direct relationship with them at all? Do they understand that your technology is what's powering the images they're generating? And do they kind of have preset rooms like, oh, I decorated virtually this one living room and I wanted to see what that looks like in all these different houses? Is there an opportunity for them to upload their own furniture in whatever house they might live in now? I'm thinking through how you build that relationship.
Yeah, correct. So we are coming with a series of things that are going to be plugged in there where you can actually take a photo of Brentford. You have to take it from an angle 45 facing another 45. You can upload that in and you can see the wrong furniture in the photo. So we're calculating the in-depth on pixels. Correct.
I see. And then will that be free to the user in terms of just kind of a sticky?
Yeah, so we only work B2B SaaS. We're not going on monetizing the user. Ultimately, and slightly about retail, that's the bigger picture. The means to that is the real estate. And being integrated currently inside the real estate. We actually have our APIs integrated into the CRM with the tools that empower these listings. So this is where we sit. By being there, we're getting access to all of that. We're holding it. It's a land grab position that we're doing right now. That's the means to the data.
Excellent. And then what's your background that caused you to start this?
So I'm a serial entrepreneur. My first startup was in the year 2000. Doesn't make me younger, right? Exited that in 2003. Made some money with that. Went into others. Didn't make as much. Went into oil and gas. I was in that M&A in Asia Pacific for one of the old oil producers out there. And now this baby.
Excellent.
So are you integrated into the real estate listing system? And so you sell to the real estate company and say, add this feature to your listing system? Or is the end customer who's listing their home paying for it? Who's paying for it?
No, so it's B2B. So we charge, the ones paying us are the listing sites. We're working very closely with the NAR and Realtor.com and .Realtor. There are sites out there like Zillow, one of them, that become the customer, right? So they take our models that we have trained over the past 4 years, proprietary, they plug them in the back end, and they create their own workflow on the website. So we're not the tool that people see. We're not branding PropTechs. That's not the purpose. The purpose is, here are APIs, connect it, empower your users. That's what we're doing.
Have you done a comparison of those who use your product and those who don't, and kind of given them a cheat sheet saying that, look, this is the difference? What did you find?
Are you talking about the users?
The companies who are buying why you're selling the APIs.
So we signed a contract with Remax Europe. I think that's the best use case for that question. Remax Europe, and we're rolling out in the 41 regions of Remax in Europe, country by country. They have seen an increase. They saw a 30% increase in lead generation through the tool from previous. So they just installed the tool on their website, and we have installed a little lead capture mechanism where people need to actually put their name and number and email to be able to use the tool for free, but that helps capture the leads. So they put it that way. Everyone uses it differently, but yeah, that's one way.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next company is Wellmany.
Thank you, Kumar. So hi, everyone. I'm Mini Suri, co-founder and CEO of Wellmany. By the way, fun fact, Wellmany is not on my name. It means robot in Icelandic. So what is Wellmany? By the way, have you been to your dentist? Anybody, show of hands? Good. Did you know that 1/3 of diagnoses get missed, even if your dentists are very well trained and professionals? Not that they don't know what they're doing, but it's just the way the dentistry is performed. Pain gets the priority. So when you go to a dental office, they get often distracted, they're humans, and things get missed. And that's where the early intervention goes out of the window. We say you miss a tooth or you miss a cavity, 6 months later, it becomes a root canal. And more often, what they're finding, oral health is linked to your general health, which means pull a tooth, the bacteria move into your bloodstream and cause heart attacks, Alzheimer's, rheumatic pains, it affects pregnancies, and so on. So when you are on a dental chair, this is exactly what you see. I call it 256 shades of gray. And often the patient says to the doctor, am I looking at those paws, doctor? But this is what Velmini does with our AI on both 2D, which is plain X-rays, or 3D, which is cone beam CT scans, and with our VR and AR. So you can see in matter of seconds, when the images get uploaded to our SaaS-based platform, it actually highlights or annotates all the problems. Now nothing can be missed. The doctor knows what they're really looking at. The patient sees what's going on. Everything is clear. There is a very meaningful dialogue that happens between the doctor and the patient. So you see all these X-rays. Now you see all the green colors are the cavities. The yellows are fixed processes, implants. Whatever is going in your mouth, we know what it is. So these are 2D X-rays, which is a lot of people use, a lot of dentists use, but the standard of care is now changing to CBCT or 3D X-rays. So what we can do, which is within minutes, because these are very heavy files, now you can see what's going on with your teeth. I always say that when you see your mom's picture in 2D versus 3D, 3D obviously gives a lot more. And 3D is a little bit overwhelming from the doctor's perspective because there is a lot more information on the 3D X-rays. But what Velmini does, it helps to bridge the gap. Now with VR, we help so that the patient can see their X-rays in a more immersive manner. And that's where the patient acceptance happens. Now the thing is, if the patient understands what needs to be done, they'll say, hey doc, let's go move forward. And that's what you really want. Otherwise the patient says, you know what, I don't understand, let me come back after 6 months. The problem has now progressed a lot more. The patient needs to pay more. Dental insurance obviously can only pay so much. The rest goes out of the pocket from the patient. And there is a lot of discomfort and a lot of problems here. So what Velmini is, we are leader in CBCT. We are one of the pioneers who started working on the CBCT radiographs. We help the patient's diagnosis, insurance data, everything together in one view. And we, with this AI, can help the patient to really understand what's going on, whether they have, whatever the condition it is, and they can accept the treatment, and which is very important. However, we do not take the doctor's seat. Doctor is always on the driver's seat. And the doctor sees more problems. It is into the revenue and profit for them. So Velmini's expansion is, from the dental, we also, because of CBCT, we can look into their airways, which means we can find if there is a constriction in the airways, that takes us to sleep apnea and sleep study. And obviously, there's an expansion into other areas. So I'm going to stop here.
Excellent. Thank you very much. What's your background that brought you to this?
I'm not a dentist. However, I've worked in AI for almost 10 years. I come from financial services background, really built one of the largest bank as a conversational AI bank. So I have built all AI so far from Citi to Uber to now Wellmany, but into deep vision, computer vision, AI.
How many dentists or dentist offices are currently using the product?
So there are two parts of the product. One is on the dental side, which is the provider, and then the payer. Providers, which is the dental offices, we have about 50 dental offices onboarded. However, we are going through FDA clearance. It's a medical software medical device, class 2, but we are very close to FDA clearance now. We have very positive response from FDA. However, on the payer side, which is the insurance side, we also have signed contracts with, our pipeline is pretty solid, about 85 million. We are signing contracts with large clearinghouses and insurance companies. They need our product because dentists are on their side who are actually looking at the claims. So what we are building is our AI-based claim systems, which is in matter of seconds will be able to see the conditions and map it to the doctor's notes and can actually say whether the claim is agreed or rejected. This would not only save the dental offices, but it's going to fast track the payment process and streamline the whole I would say, value chain. So our 86% of our revenue comes from the back end, the payer, and the insurance companies. 14% of our revenue is tied to the dental offices, which is FDA and other clearances.
I see. And then that percentage of revenue that will come from insurance companies, is that current or that's the roadmap?
I'm sorry, say that.
Is the insurance claim revenue, is that current or that is after FDA approval? And
oh no, it is current. It is current. It doesn't care. They don't care about FDA clearance.
So what is the current revenue there?
So our current, we just became revenue positive as a company, and our goal plan is about 3 to 4 million by end of this year. Because we've already started to implement the claims process system for the insurance companies, and this is per transaction that they're paying us. On the dental side, when we get FDA clearance within 2 months, that we are anticipating, we will become revenue positive, which is subscription fee model, which is monthly subscription.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
So many, on the clearinghouse side and the insurance carrier side, how do they justify their ROI? How much do they pay you, and how much are they saving in terms of claims processing cost or potentially paying, identifying false claims? I mean, what is the basis of they justifying the ROI for using your product?
So the thing is, ROI is immense for them because today they pay dentists to look at these claims. With us, we will be totally automating the process only if we hit a threshold that the claims will go for someone to review. So we will be cutting at least 70% of their transactions, which will be automated. So that is huge. And the most important thing is, today claims take 30 to 60 days sometimes for the payment. That means these dental offices don't have revenue, whereas we will make it in a matter of seconds. That is a huge business proposition it's a win-win for everyone.
So currently, all claims have to be reviewed by a dentist in the insurance for an insurance company?
Most, I would say, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's a big problem there.
Yeah. How do you keep the data and the algorithm up to date? I mean, is it constantly being reviewed by the dentists or changes to the?
Yes, that's a great point and great question. We have a feedback mechanisms already built in to our platform. Anytime we see a model hasn't performed, it goes through our feedback, which is actually intercepted by radiologists. We only work with the radiologist, a human in loop today, because this is a very tricky data. Claim comes from all different dental offices in all different shapes and forms. So our models, if they have not performed well, will be looked at by the radiologist, and then kind of similar data will be used to train the models. So we are looking at our model output constantly. So it's a continuous improvement.
Have you filed patents?
Yes, we did. Both in 2D and 3D, we just filed recently, and they're pending.
So tell me something. Why isn't that anyone else has not done this, or what's the competitive landscape like?
We do have competition, and competition is good, but I think we are the only company that has really taken a little different approach. We're actually doing this in every kind of radiographs and images that are generated in dental office, because we want to be that AI platform that can really be an end-to-end for the dentist as well as the insurance companies. The other thing, what we've taken our approach a little differently with our VR headset, we actually provide very immersive experience to the patient. Because what we really believe in the dental office, if the patient understands the problem, they'll say yes. And that's where most of them have failed, because they think just having an AI is enough, but having an AI with the education really helps.
Thanks, Vinny. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Last but not the least, we have Vivify Medical.
Good afternoon, folks. I apologize. I see some of you eating food, so some of the content over here might be inappropriate, but sorry in advance. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tushar Sharma. I'm the CEO and founder for Vivify Medical. When we initially showed our prototypes to Billy, who at that time was the vice president at Johnson & Johnson MedTech, he thought this could change the standard of care. We recently received $1.5 million in NSF SBIR awards and are targeting a $1.5 million seed round, which is oversubscribed at this stage, for a large obtainable market in the US to tackle the massive problem of benign prostate hyperplasia, or BPH. More than 600 million men around the world suffer from this condition. It is one of these conditions which all men will eventually get it. It's not a question of if, but a matter of when. It's a condition where the prostate enlarges in size and starts to constrict the urethra. And as a result, men cannot empty their bladder in a single go, forcing them to wake up multiple times in the night. And this takes a severe toll on their quality of life. Now, there's numerous surgical treatment options available for BPH. Majority of them result in severe side effects, such as high recurrence rates, sexual and ejaculatory dysfunctions, urinary complications. The standard of care, the TURP procedure, advances an energy device through the urethra and essentially reams a hole out so that men can empty their bladder again. It's a brutal procedure, and all of these treatments are just treating the symptoms. At Vivify, our procedure treats the root cause, naturally reversing BPH over time without any of these side effects. Additionally, our vascular procedure also increases the systemic testosterone level of these patients and reduces the chances of getting prostate cancer. And we are developing minimally invasive laparoscopic and robotic technology to enable this technically challenging vascular procedure for urologists. The only implant that gets left behind in the human body are the plastic rings that you see on the right-hand side. Those are already FDA cleared. There's more than 12 million actively managed BPH patients in the US alone, and based on our patient segmenting and mapping, we believe we would have access to $2 billion in obtainable market. Subsequent to pursuing BPH, we will pursue all of these multi-billion-dollar indications, none of which require any modification to our technology or procedure. We have an outstanding, well-rounded team with years of front-end innovation experience and chief medical officer who is a practicing urologist at Houston Methodist Hospital, and our advisory team includes some of the biggest names in the field from urology, vascular surgery, and medical devices in general. To summarize, we are starting off with BPH, disrupting the standard of care for BPH, and we have validated our procedure, technology, and strategy through multiple key opinion leaders, such as Marshall Stoller, who is the vice chair of urology at UCSF, who all strongly believe in Vivify's potential to not only disrupt BPH, but change the standard of care for urology as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you very much. To a non-doctor, how would you describe what you do? What's special about your product? You mentioned you're only leaving behind this plastic ring. Is that, I guess, what is the breakthrough versus the current standard of care, besides just being less invasive?
Yeah, so some people might argue that our procedure is not as less invasive as compared to going through the urethra, which is a natural orifice. But majority of the current surgical treatment options go through the urethra. And they try to resect the tissue or ablate the tissue, or essentially doing this aiming this mechanical constriction of the urethra. Ours is a completely different. Ours is a laparoscopic, so teeny tiny incisions on the abdominal wall, inject carbon dioxide gas, insufflate it, and access the pelvic floor vasculature, and do some vascular replumbing in the pelvic floor. Discharge in a couple of hours. The patient essentially walks out of the OR the way they came in, meaning no post-op catheters in the urethra, no pain or bleeding or burning sensation while urinating, and their symptoms magically disappear over time.
Excellent, thank you, that makes sense. And then the regulatory process, I saw there's a current clinical trials in Panama. Is that going to be applicable to the U.S. market? Where are you at in terms of that regulatory pathway?
Yeah, so our regulatory pathway is a 510(k) de novo, which means that our initial clearance will be for vascular anastomosis, and then a de novo of at least 200 patients for BPH marketing indication. And the Panama studies do not get us anywhere close to the 510(k) clearance for vascular anastomosis. But what they really do is they de-risk the procedure, establish the safety and efficacy of our device and the procedure, and also using this data we can file for a Category 3 CPT code, which will give us the APC level of reimbursement that we will fall under. And combining all of these inflection points, we believe that we would be ready for a prime fundraising using an institutional investor.
Mm-hmm. So the Panama studies, are they being done primarily on animals?
No, humans.
Humans out there. So they're actually going through the procedure where they're having the surgery.
Yes.
And they're seeing the benefits of the surgery working.
We have not started it yet, but yes, that's the goal.
And why Panama as opposed to somewhere else?
Oh, that's a heavy question. In short, Panama is one of the most unique countries in the world where urologists and physicians in general can double dip between private healthcare systems and public healthcare systems. So patients on the public healthcare system who cannot afford a treatment can be taken into the private healthcare system and be treated on an experimental procedure very easily. Makes it very easy for companies like us to come and do an experimental treatment. And also, for some reason, Panama seems to be the hotspot for all prosthetic clinical treatment or clinical studies.
Okay.
How are you, as you hit your pricing one day, what's your pricing going to be, and who's going to pay for it, and who are you selling it to?
Yeah, great question. So we would be selling it to primarily ambulatory surgical centers and hospital-owned ASCs as well, and it will be coming eventually from the insurance payment, but ultimately facilities will be the one that will be reimbursing us for our device cost. And we have reason to believe, based on the comps, that our sales price for our technology, which will be kit more than just one particular device, can be up to $5,000 easily. And that will get us into the level 7 APC reimbursement, which is the highest reimbursement category for laparoscopic procedures.
But that $5,000 is your price, or what the hospital will charge?
No, the $5,000 is our reimbursement from the hospital.
Okay.
Yeah. The hospital, the total procedure that the hospital will submit to the insurance is going to be roughly around $12.5K.
So what's your game plan? Do you want to sell out even before you hit the market, or?
It is not uncommon for strategics in the medtech space to acquire startups in the pivotal study. Clinical trial phase, and that is a very likely possibility of exit for us.
And when is that gate going to be?
It's going to be around 26, 27, roughly.
Right.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. With that, we've come to the end of the Draper session.